Okay, it's 6 o'clock, August 7th. I'd like to call the meeting of the Springfield Police Advisory Committee to order. Tiffany, will you please call the roll?
Michelle Weber. Here. Josh Aguilar.
Here.
Daniel Davidson.
Here.
Cindy Koza.
Here.
Jonathan Hayes.
Here.
Carla Bird.
Here.
Here. Adam Jenkins.
Here.
Brett Yancey.
Here.
Adams. Here.
Wasn't accounted for. Next item on the agenda, approval of the minutes from our June 5th, 2025 meeting. Does anyone have any edits or amendments to the minutes? If not, I'd entertain a motion to approve.
I'll make that motion.
Second? Motion and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
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 Okay, other ayes in virtual world, or raise your hand.
Aye.
All those opposed? Seeing none, unanimously approved. Thank you.
Well, we don't have any online attendees and no one has requested to speak, so we can probably skip the business from the audience.
Okay, I had one question. We did get the email that you had forwarded in, I think it's late
That's
last
just for the committee's knowledge.
Okay.
I don't
week.
believe it needs a response. I responded to them and let them know that it had been forwarded to the committee.
Okay, great.
I was from Jesse's.
Oh, gotcha.
I figured we were gonna be discussing that today anyway.
Okay, in that case, we'll move on to item 5, business from Springfield Police Department.
Okay, so a couple of things. So we'll start out, obviously last week we had, the officer involved shooting. I can answer any generalized questions if people have those. Both of the officers are home and doing well. And the DA's office will take it through the rest of the process for our involved officer. All future communications, releases of information, all that stuff come from the DA's office. So that's just the process that it has to go through. But I just wanted to let everybody know, we appreciate all of the support that the officers got. They were grateful for that. And again, you know, the process will be what it is, but I just wanted to give everybody the update because I know I get a lot of questions about how the officers are doing, and they're both doing well and at home recovering. So hopefully they'll be back relatively quickly. That would be nice. Let's see. So we currently have the deputy chief spot is vacant. And it closed, the position announcement closed last Sunday. And we had, I think, 5 applications, and we're gonna be interviewing 3 different individuals. So hopefully I'll have an announcement by the time our next SPAC meeting is that we've selected that person and that they've passed background and all of that good stuff. So that should be, yeah.
Is there anybody from the department?
Yeah, we have 1 person internally and 2 external candidates, yeah. So hopefully I'll have some news on who that person, who the selected person was and that. Tuesday was National Night Out. Saw some of you all there, really appreciate it. Tiffany did an outstanding job, thank you. That was our new location. I liked it. For those of you that were there, do we like to think that's a better location than trying to cram it into our little parking lot? I think next year too, I mean, the vendors that I saw that were there they liked it and wanted to come back next year. So I think it's a good event where we were able to get a lot more vehicles and stuff this year, which is just great for the kids. We had some donations of bikes and stuff, so we were able to do some good raffle prizes, and I just thought it was a good event. Great partnership with Willamette Lane by letting us use that space. So I think it went well. But if you were there and you have suggestions, we're always looking for ways to make it better. I don't want to necessarily say bigger, but better. Yeah, bigger is more work. So I appreciate everybody's support with that. So I know we did a couple press releases. We had an arson homicide case a couple weeks ago. We do have a person in custody, and they are continuing to work that. That kind of will lead into our flock camera conversation when we talk about the cameras and some of the cases that those cameras have been helpful with. And then I'll just end with, we do have about 11 vacancies right now in the officer rank. We got pretty close. We were at like 5 or 6. And then we had a couple people who have moved out of state. We had a couple officers who are in the process. They want to live in Eastern Oregon, and it's kind of hard to live in Eastern Oregon and work at Springfield. So they are in the process in Eastern Oregon with different agencies over there. I just tell people all the time, I think a lot of people are like, when they come tell me like, oh, I'm so sorry that we're leaving, or whatever. I'm like, you have to do what's best for you and your family. These are long careers. And if you are going to be happier and your family's going to be happier in Eastern Oregon, we 100% support that. And then I always end with the caveat, when that doesn't work out, you can come back here again. So, but I mean, you just try to be supportive of people. You got to be happy. And if that's going to make you and your family happy. So I haven't had anybody say, I always try to talk to people as they're leaving, look for little things that we can improve, or if there was a reason for them to be leaving, that's what I want to know about. Haven't had any of that yet. So I'm just grateful that it's very legitimate, life-changing reasons. But we've had really good increase in application for our last 2 rounds of both entry level and lateral officers. So even though we have like 11 vacancies right now, we have that many people in the process going through background. So not many people won't pass background. Historically, it just doesn't work out that way. It's pretty hard to get everybody through backgrounds. But we're hopeful that even if we can get, half of that, we can do another process, and we'll just slowly start chipping our way back towards getting more fully staffed. When we get more fully staffed, then we can do more of the special events, more of the community outreach, all of that stuff. But when we are leaner staffing, then basically we fill shifts, and it's harder to get the officers out doing anything else except for taking calls for service, which I want them out doing lots of other things in addition. So we're working on it. But I'm really happy with the turnout that we've had. We also have 3 people that will be moving to backgrounds for detention officers. We need 2 detention officers. So we'll send those folks through, and then we have 2 people right now in background for records. If we can get detention and records full, that would be great. Dispatch is currently fully staffed. So it would be fantastic to have all of those other units fully staffed as well. So we're working on it. That's my plug. If anybody knows anybody that wants to be a detention officer, new officer, lateral police officer, hopefully we don't need records, folks, but we'll put it out there again if we do. So yeah, it's kind of the updates. I think I got them all.
I think you did too.
Okay. Great.
Any questions from the committee?
Just curious, with those 11 vacancies, that means more overtime for
Yes.
patrol. How do you feel like officers are holding up with the occasional mandatory overtime?
Yeah, so how that works is what we try to do is the officers work 12-hour shifts. And so what we'll try to do is either have them come early or stay late. Sometimes if we know it enough in advance, we'll post full shifts so you can work 12s. And depending on, the officer's home life and childcare and all of those other things, sometimes it's easier to come in really early as opposed to work a whole full shift on your days off. So we try to break it up as easy as possible. We also try to forecast it as much as possible, because if people know that their shift is going to be changed, like mandatory overtime, it's better to know that a week in advance than the day of, especially if you're looking for childcare or something like that. So they're doing pretty well. It's been kind of I don't want to say a constant, but this has been pretty common over the last few years that we go in kind of waves of mandatory overtime. And so we have a couple officers who, they're having babies. And so, they're going to be off for protected leave and that kind of stuff. So they just kind of take care of each other in those situations where they know like they're off doing important things. And so, but it does take a toll. So we try to watch and make sure that we're not mandating the same person 16 hours over and over and over again. So sergeants do a pretty good job of that. And some of the officers want to work all of the overtime. And I'm like, well, you still got to take care of yourself. Yeah. So,
Thank you.
yeah, absolutely.
Anybody online, questions? All right, seeing none, we'll move on to item 6, business from the committee, starting with the scheduled policy review for unabated license plate reader. Any questions for the chief before she gives us an overview on this, perhaps? Nothing to start with, okay.
So obviously, we wanted to make sure this is online, and we wanted to make sure that people had the opportunity to ask questions about these. These are, I mean, Eugene has some up right now. Ours will probably go up pretty soon. When they do go up, the other thing that will be available is like a public facing dashboard, so that you'll be able to see some of the statistics behind it. And it will also have basically like an FAQ section, because there's people that have questions about it. So we're trying to be as transparent as possible. The intent of these is to capture back license plates. We've already had success in putting in license plates from crimes that we've had occur and catching them on cameras. Some in Eugene, some out of state. And so if people have questions about that, and if you have things, so another thing that we did is immediately there were some concerns about whether or not this information would be shared with federal agencies and whether it would be used in any type of immigration enforcement, which it will not. We will not share for those reasons. So we had asked Flock if part of their, let's say I put in a license plate and I want to know if it's anywhere in the country, if it's hit anywhere. There are certain states that have things that you have to agree not to use the information for. Like, I think it's Illinois has a very strict reproductive rights laws in their state. So when you fill it out, like if I were to fill it out, I have to put the purpose that I'm filling it out for. And then I also have to check a box that says I'm not using this in violation of their state law, that, I'm not looking for someone for those reasons. We reached out to Flock to say, could you please add a box to that for Oregon and say that you will not violate our immigration laws by using this information. It's just another safeguard so that the agency that's putting that information in is acknowledging that that's not what they're using it for. I think there were maybe a couple other agencies that also requested that. And so Flock has added that for Oregon, for agencies that are using that information. So it's just another way. I mean, you still have to put in, your lawful purpose, but then you're also acknowledging that the second time around, I am not using it for this information. We will be conducting audits on our information on who's accessing it and for why. And all of that stuff will be public facing. This isn't anything that we're trying to hide from anybody. So I just want to be very clear that we will be very transparent on what we're using the information for and how successful it is for us. So.
Is there like a FAQ on the site regarding this, or?
Yeah, so when it goes up, I had asked, so Brian Austin is our analyst who's working on this, and I asked him to create basically like an FAQ so that when the dashboard pops up, it will also have a link to some of these FAQ questions that we're getting, so.
How many jurisdictions are deploying these?
Nationwide, I don't know how many. I mean, I think there's thousands nationwide. It may be hundreds, but I want to say it's thousands. I have to go on Flock's site and look, but there are several agencies in Oregon have had them for a while. Yeah, and some private businesses have them as well.
Question.
Yeah.
Obviously, it is being implemented. So was this like a city council decision, or is it police department decision? How does that work as far as implementing something like this?
Yeah, so this started with Chief Shearer because we got it with the grant when we did the organized retail theft. That's where the money for the cameras came from. And so in order to keep the cameras up and running, we'll have to apply for more funding in the next round of the retail theft grant because we don't have the money to support these cameras on their own. So we didn't actually purchase them. We basically leased them from Flock. And that way, if they break or something like that, they go and fix them. And so there were discussions with the city manager about purchasing these when we were going through that process. Yeah.
Yeah, so thank you for providing something for us as
Yeah.
counselors to direct folks to.
Yeah.
For information we've been receiving, as you know, some.
Yeah.
Community concern.
Yeah.
Regarding these, so that's very helpful to have a resource to.
Yeah, I'm hoping that once that dashboard gets up too and people are able to see, what it is and what we're using it for, and then also like those question and answers, that people will feel more comfortable. Those that have concerns Some people are concerned about it, but I totally understand people that have concerns. It's a new thing and people want to make sure that we're using it correctly.
Yeah, it's really nice to have some place to refer them to and
Absolutely.
get some solid answers for
Yeah.
them, so thank you.
This is just for like the backplate, right? Doesn't detect how fast folks are going.
No, this is not speed or like photo enforcement or anything like that. You'll hear sometimes people will refer to flock high-speed cameras. What that means is, those are cameras that can catch cars going at a faster speed, but it doesn't tell you how fast the car is going. It's just a more sophisticated camera. And so those are more expensive. But that would be like if you're trying to get back plates of like cars on a freeway or something like that. That's what that refers to, but they are not used for speed or any type of other like vehicle enforcement type thing.
Jonathan has his hand.
Oh, yeah, Jonathan.
Oh, thank you. I had a question. Since it sounds like these cameras are more of a data gathering and sharing purpose, are we able to mount them on other apparatus, like our chief rigs for the fire department or medic units or anything like that? Since we won't have access to the data themselves, but we put a lot of miles and we cover a lot of the cities on those apparatus. Is that something that will be possible?
Yeah, so they have, these are considered fixed ALPR, so fixed automated license plate readers. There's more, I think, legal requirements, and I'd have to double check on this, when you start using mobile ones. So it's something that you can do, but I think it's not something that we would do like anytime soon. I know that, there's additional things because where our cameras are intended for like major roads, right? Like Main Street, Mohawk, Olympic, that kind of thing. But when you start putting them on like patrol cars or like fire engines or something, they go a lot into residential. And that's where a lot more concerns come into play, especially from community. So I think there's more restrictions to that, but I would have to look into that a lot further.
Thank you.
Chief?
Yeah.
From the one email that was forwarded to us, I mean, it seems like, at least from that correspondence, the concerns are about the potential for data to be shared with outside organizations.
Correct. Yeah.
So you mentioned an audit process that we implemented as part of that. So are there standardized criteria that would be used for that audit? Done internally or by an outside organization?
So we have the ability to audit that. So we will be conducting audits and seeing who is accessing our information and for what reasons. And if we had concerns about that, then we could address it. Flock will tell you that, I mean, there are laws that they have to follow. So if they were to get a certain type of, subpoena or court order or something, they could have to release information, but it would be the same laws that we have to follow. Yeah.
Questions? Comments?
So is this like a thing that the community can access or no?
No.
Okay.
It's law enforcement only, and you have to be a law enforcement agency. And so I think it's not like I can't just put in somebody's license plate and it hits every flock camera everywhere and I get information. You have to have agreed to share information with that other agency. So we can get, requests to share from agencies where we decline that. So it would be something that we have agreed to share. Yeah.
And not every member of our department has access to it.
Correct.
It's mainly dispatch and the analysts. I don't know if the detectives do.
The officers will, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's, I anticipate it being used a lot, like in the moment for like stolen vehicles, missing persons, Amber Alerts, when you see the vehicles on the ODOT reader boards, that kind of thing. Like I said, we've had a couple cases where it's been a crime that's happened and we've been able to put it in, like we have a suspect license plate, we put that in and we get pretty quick results. So I anticipate it being used primarily for those things. Yeah.
Brett has his hand raised.
Oh, yeah, Brett.
Thanks. So, obviously, no public state or no official opinion from the school district. I like it, personally, but what is the downside? What are the cons? Because I mean, I understand the potential concern with, you know, privacy rights and things like that. But are there any cons to this from your perspective?
So like from a law enforcement perspective, no, but there are people who do have concerns because they worry that that data will somehow get outside of Flock, be used for something it's not supposed to be used for. And so that's why it's so important that we like do the audits, make sure that we're paying attention, make sure that we're paying attention to, like, let's say if we share it with Eugene PD, that they're putting in the reasons that they're using it for. Flock did recently also, if we wanted, we could make the agencies that we share it with put in a case number, which would be something that you could link that information back to. So there would be some sort of proof that you had a reason to use this information, to look for it. So, and that's something that we're talking about. I'm trying to think, there could be times where, you know, we don't have a case number, but most of the time we probably would. So I think you'll see agencies maybe start using that as well as another safeguard to make sure that the information is not being misused. That's the biggest concern, Brett, from people, is that they're just concerned that it's going to be misused.
Thank you.
How many cameras are going out throughout the city?
25. So, and so there will be a map of where the cameras are. That will also be on the site. So you'll know exactly where the cameras are.
Any questions?
That makes another question. Then does the whole community know where the cameras are placed? Because people could just intentionally avoid them if they chose to, right?
Yeah, that's very true, but trying to be as transparent as we want to be. We are, and most cities do put up a map where all of the cameras are. They're designed to catch all of the roads that lead into and out of. So it would be pretty hard to get into or out of Springfield without hitting one of those cameras. And that's kind of what their intent is. They're not intended to be in residential areas at all. It's just those main feeders. And how it's set up is, you'll notice that, like, let's take Franklin, for example. You know, we have a camera that's facing westbound catching, but then Eugene has the camera that's facing eastbound so that it catches the rear plate of those cars. So we're trying to coordinate with Eugene where we match up with them so that we get the cameras going both ways. Yeah.
I just wouldn't want a murderer to be able to avoid them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Good. Moving on to our last item then, info share from the committee members. Let's see. Order. Starting with Josh. No, okay. All right. Daniel.
Just with the recent shooting, I just have observed from the faith standpoint and interaction with some of the officers that it was a horrible call, but it really increases the peer support. A lot of, you know, text messages, support, phone calls, and so that's been cool to watch.
Yeah.
As far as to build the camaraderie among the department, at least from my standpoint and involvement there.
Yeah, it was great. I didn't have to do anything with that peer support, just they knew what they were supposed to do as a team and they just started doing their thing. So I appreciate that. That I don't have to, you know, worry like, okay, is so-and-so getting checked on? Are they doing okay? There's people taking care of that. Yeah.
Cindy, anything for you?
I don't have a question specifically, but just kind of curious about, I know a lot of my employees are worried about ICE and the presence here in Springfield, if there is a presence, and if the police are, you know, working in any kind of way. Like, have you guys heard any concerns? Or I guess, like, I don't know if ICE even comes to Springfield, just kind of curious about that situation.
Yeah, so the rules, like the immigration rules for local law enforcement, those have been relatively the same since like 1988. So this is not new for local law enforcement not to be able to do any type of participation in immigration enforcement. And the federal partners are also very aware of that. What I think some people don't understand is that ICE can come to Springfield and they don't have to tell us, right? They don't have to notify, you know, SPD or the city at all. They can come do whatever they're going to do if they choose to do that. we always ask that they notify us of it. They know that we're not gonna participate in any immigration enforcement, but I always ask, you know, if to any federal agency or any outside agency, like, you know, I always ask Eugene or the county or whatever, if you're gonna come into our city, I'm not gonna tell you you can't do your police work, but just let us know so that when we start getting questions, we're not like, I don't know what's happening. Now, I can't guarantee that that would happen. But we have had no interaction with ICE and we have not been asked to interact with ICE. The only thing that we did get, and I think I mentioned this at a meeting before, and is that we got 2 requests for our detainers, I guess, sent to our jail, but they were just signed by ICE agents. They were not signed by judges, so they were not like federal warrants or anything like that. When we get those, we're required by the state to notify them of that and report it, and we did that. And that was, I think that was months ago when we got 2 of those. Might have actually been the end of last year, beginning of this year, and we haven't gotten any since. That's the only thing that we've gotten.
So you just report it, they're not like taking them, or are they?
No, we don't, we basically say, we do not participate in this, and we send that back. So it basically means nothing to us, and we just let them know, we don't participate in this, we don't respond with any other information, and then we forward that information to the state.
Jonathan, anything for you to share?
Nothing from me.
Okay. Carla?
I'm part of a community organization that has been really excited that we were able to go into the jail for a while. And I know we've been really disappointed that recently that due to staffing, we haven't been able to. In today's report, you talking about that there are 11 vacancies. That's really great information for me to take back because it supports that it's not that you don't want us there. It's that there's that there are staffing issues. And so we look forward to getting you getting those filled so that we can continue that relationship. And
Carla, how many times has that been canceled?
we last month before, we just said we're canceling until we're told we can come back.
All right, I'll check with Lieutenant Crawley on that.
Okay. I thought he was gone.
No, it's
No,
Rapay.
Rapay retired.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
So I'll check, yeah. That won't help me if I check with Tom. He'll tell me I can do whatever I want.
Exactly.
I will check with George on that to get you an update.
I know that there have been communications so that we can kind of, get pamphlets in and communications for people who are leaving that connect to us. So we're, there, it's not like all communications have ceased, but when we can start coming back, that would be lovely.
Yeah, you guys were getting good turnout. Okay, I'll get you an update.
Thank you.
See, Adam. Not this time. Nothing for you, no, okay. Brett?
Yeah, so just voicing similar concerns and appreciation for the shooting. I had the opportunity to talk to George, so obviously not going to go into detail, but really concerned from the school district's perspective and appreciate all of the work that the SPD did on that, and glad everybody ended up safe in that situation. Gearing up for another year, our SROs are gearing up for another year, and hopefully, this will be successful and without incident. Dealing with a little bit of vandalism, and I know that we've been working with a few officers on that. We had some pretty significant vandalism a few days ago at Hamlin, but luckily we have video of it, and we believe we have identified some of the perpetrators there, so that's good. And no, it's just, I hope everybody had a good summer and was able to relax because we're about ready to hit the fall and hit the ground running.
I can't believe that summer's almost over.
Well, we still have a month, but it seems like it's almost over because
Yeah,
all of our people are coming back now. So it's like, okay, well, get your head on straight, start thinking clearly. Yeah. So anyway, Chief, just best wishes to officers involved in that situation.
Thank you.
I have nothing.
I'll just relay from Willamelane's representatives, that we really appreciated the opportunity to host National Night Out. I thought it was great event, really well done, very comfortable level of attendance. There were probably more people there than it actually felt like, just because folks could kind of spread out and
Yeah.
enjoy the various activities. Weather was perfect, so if you can order that up again.
No kidding. Thank goodness it wasn't next week when it's 102.
Right.
Yeah.
Those fields get a little toasty.
Yeah.
That's the case, but otherwise, just share appreciation for just continued collaboration between patrol and our park rangers. We were really fortunate to get some very quick support and response last week with an individual that we had been looking to have detained, who'd been harassing our staff and some of our patrons for a while, and he was able to make that arrest very expediently. So
Good.
we're grateful for that.
Okay, good.
That's what I would share.
I have one update I forgot. So there is another round of that organized retail theft grant that will come open. I think it comes open next month. So we'll be applying for that. And if you guys remember, that's where we were doing all of the missions at like Gateway and over by Jerry's and Walmart, Winco, some of the other areas that are heavily hit with organized retail theft. So we'll be applying again for funds to run those missions. They were very successful. I've talked to businesses. They did feel impact with that, like less theft, which is what we're trying to do. So we want to keep that momentum going. So I'll keep you guys updated on that grant and hopefully we receive it again.
And Brett has his hand up and so
Oh,
does
yeah.
Carla. So Brett?
Yeah, so thank you. I just wanted to mention, I forgot to mention, I had the opportunity to witness firsthand the cooperation between the Willamette Lane Park Rangers and SPD, a situation that was on one of our campuses, but it was kind of confusing between Willamette Lane Park and the school district property. We had a person that was having some mental crisis, and just a heads up and a appreciation to Willamette Lane and SPD for how they handled that situation. I had an opportunity to kind of witness the whole thing, and it was really well done. Unfortunately, the person decided not to cooperate, but I thought that the staff that were there did a really good job with him. So just wanted to mention that to the group that Willamette Lane Park Rangers and SPD appear to be working pretty well together.
Oh, good. I like that.
And Carla?
On the theft grant,
Yeah.
I was talking to a couple of employees that work for Safeway and Albertsons, which are basically the same.
Yeah.
And they were expressing how much how much loss they have. And I was talking to them about all the work that's been done, like at Jerry's and all of those. And I've noticed that normally we seem to do it at like Jerry's and Walmart. And is there any way to get other some of the bigger grocery stores involved, other people?
Yeah, I'll check with, because I know we've done Winco over there. So I'll check with the sergeant and see if they've reached out. Sometimes when you get change of management, like we don't get a response or something like that, but I'll double check. And if they haven't, then maybe we can add that to the list this year. Especially when we're doing some of those larger ones where we're trying to hit multiple stores a day.
Wonderful, thank you.
No problem.
Okay, and I just have a couple little notes. Carla, Jonathan, and Adam, your terms are up at the end of the year. So we'll have to do the vacancy review and put it out. You are all three eligible for a second term. So in the fall, that will go online and you'll have to do the application process and the council interview if you're willing to serve another term. But I will let you know when that happens. And then just a reminder for Eric that we have our meeting with council on September 22nd.
Thank you.
So I think that's it, unless anybody else has anything else.
We're all set.
All right.
You're adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Bye, guys.